Hi, this is Mohammed Saqib, and I'm maths teacher for O levels. I've been teaching maths for many years to different students. Sometimes students have difficulties facing issues understanding the concepts. Sometimes concepts are clear, but they do have concerns and issues solving exam questions, real exam questions. So today I'll be giving a demonstration. We are short on time, so I've chose the topic coordinate geometry, where we will discuss about equation of line, slope of the line, gradient, and the y-intercept. Also, distance between 2 points, midpoint between 2 points, the perpendicular lines formula concept, and also parallel lines. So, as you can see, I've already sketched the y-axis and x-axis. X-axis, the Cartesian plane, is y-axis is the vertical line over here, as you can see on the screen, and x-axis is the horizontal line. And if I say the starting point A over here as 2 and 4 and end point over here as point B, I can make it as 5 and 10, right? So if we can see that and construct a straight line, so we have a general straight line formula for every x value, there's a y value, y equals to mx plus c. And when we see m, what m is, it's a slope. X is the x variable and y is the y variable. C is a digit which we call as y-intercept. And when we say it's a y-intercept, what we mean by y-intercept? Y-intercept means it's a point on y-axis where the line cuts the y-axis, right? So always at y-intercept, we will have x value as 0. All right. So this is what it is at the beginning. And now let me show you quickly how we can calculate the slope of the line if 2 points are given, and how we can find the y-intercept, and also how we can find the equation of the line. So slope is basically m, which is y2 minus y1, all right, divided by x2 minus x1. So it's change in y divided by change in x. So looking at our y2 value is 10 and y1 is 4. So we would do 10 minus 4. And what is our x2? X2 is basically the x value of b, right? So x2 is 5 and x1 is 2, right? So we do 5 minus 2 on the denominator. So what we get? We get 10 minus 4 is 6 and 5 minus 2 is 3. So we cancel this out. What we get? We get our slope as 2. So slope of the line is 2. Now, what we do next, we need to find the y-intercept. So how we can find the y-intercept of this line? We can take any point on the line, either starting point or ending point, A or B. Let's take A. A is 2 and 4, right? So let's write it down. A as 2 and 4, right? And our equation of line is again y equals to mx plus c, where y is 4, m is 2, x is 2 plus c, right? So we get 4 equals to 4 plus c. So in this case, we get our y-intercept c as 0, which means the line is passing through origin. All right. And what origin is? Origin is the starting point of the graph where x and y both are 0, right? So it's starting from here. Eventually, that's what we got to know. So this point is 0 and 0, right? So I hope that this is clarified. Uh, I'm sure that now you understand what's the equation of the line, how to calculate the slope, what is slope, and what is y-intercept. And if we have 2 points, how we can deduce slope, and we can calculate y-intercept, and then we can get the equation of the line. Sometimes we have equation of the line, and when we get slope and y-intercept from there. Sometimes we have 2 points, we need to find slope and intercept, and then equation of the line. All right. Now I'm going to quickly show you the distance between the 2 points, right? So we have 2 points already here, A and B, right? So let me write it down here. So distance D is square root y2 minus y1 square plus x2 minus x1 square, right? If you see, it's like a right angle triangle, and we derive this formula by using Pythagoras theorem. This as x, this as a, and this is b, right? So our a and b is basically these two things, and our d is this thing x. So we use Pythagoras theorem, the equation, and we basically derived this equation and found this way. So now if we find d, how we can find this? So what is our y2 again? Y2 is 10, right? 10 minus 5 whole square plus x2. X2 is 5 minus x1 whole square. So it's 5 square, 25 plus 3 square, 9. So we get square root 34 as our distance, right? So this is how we find the distance between 2 points. This is very genuine formula that they always ask us in the exam questions. Find the distance between two coordinates, right? Or sometimes we need to find something else, and after finding that, for example, midpoint from a perpendicular distance from a point to a straight line, and we need to find the distance between those 2 points. So we're always going to use this formula. Now we're going to look at midpoint between 2 points, right? So again, we will use the same coordinates that we used. Let me write down A and B here. Our A point is what? Let me show you again. Our A is 2 and 4, right? Let me write it down here, 2 and 4. And what is our B? B is 5 and 10, right? So we're going to find the midpoint. Midpoint is 2 and 4. So midpoint formula, let me erase this. I don't need the square root in midpoint. Is basically the coordinates x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, the y coordinate is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. All right. So now we're going to put the values in. X1 is 2, x2 is 5 divided by 2, y1 is 4, y2 is 10 divided by 2, right? So we find this as well like that. All right. So what it is? 7 divided by 2, 14 divided by 2. So what we get? We get our midpoint as 3.5 and 7, right? You can stop me anywhere if you have any questions. You can ask me at a Q&A session. We can go over it again. I will explain you again in more detail. And obviously, we will do some questions, some worksheets later on if we move ahead with me by by looking at this demonstration today. It's like an introduction session. All right. So let us talk about the perpendicular lines and parallel lines, right? So we have perpendicular line. If two lines are perpendiculars like this, that makes that they are intersecting, and at the intersection, they are making 90 degrees. So M1 should always be multiplied by M2, and the product should always give us -1 value. So this is the condition of a perpendicular line. Whenever they ask us, we can check by using the two lines are perpendicular. That means the slope of two lines should multiply to give us value as -1. All right. And now parallel lines. Parallel lines means that their gradients are same, right? They are not touching each other. So M1 should always be equal to M2. The rate of change of Y with respect to rate of change of X for both lines are same, right? So these are the conditions. So usually they give us a question Let us solve a question example, right? If they give us line 1 equation as y equals to 2x plus 4, right? They say find line 2 is perpendicular to line 1, okay? And they also say that line 2 passes through point A at 1 and 4. And they ask us find equation of line 2. Now we have to see what information they have given us, what data they have given us. One data which is very important, that they both lines are perpendicular. And if we look at the equation of line 1, we have the slope as 2. So m1 is 2, right? So we can use m1 times m2, this one, as a perpendicular line. The pole product should be equals to minus 1. So m1 times m2 should equals to negative 1. M1 is 2, M2 equals to minus 1. So we get slope 2 as negative 1 over 2, right? Now, what we have to do, we need to find the slope, right? We have the slope, sorry. We need to find y-intercept of equation. So we have y equals to mx plus c. We have the coordinate as a, 1 and 4. So we put 4, negative 1 over 1, 1 plus c. So we take 2 on the left hand side. We get 2 times 4 as 8, negative 1 plus c. So we get y-intercept as 9, right? Because when we take negative 1 from right to left, it becomes 9. So what will be our final equation? Final equation is nothing but just y equals to mx plus c. So y stays y, m becomes negative 1 over 2, x remains x, and what is c? C is positive 9. So this is the equation of line 2, right? So this is one of the examples, not everything. Today was just like a slow, like short introduction session that I was trying to show you. So this is what it is, right? So that's what all coordinate geometry is all about. Sometimes they do give us 1 point, one equation. We need to find the second equation of line. Sometimes they give us two coordinates. They ask us distance between 2 points, midpoint between 2 points, equation of the line, slope of the line, y-intercept. Sometimes they give us two equation and we need to prove whether it's a parallel line or it's a perpendicular line. Sometimes they give us graphs and we have to extract data from it. Sometimes they give us word problems. Sometimes they just give a sketch and also a word problem with it. So this was a brief coordinate geometry demo session today that I gave you. Let me stop sharing my screen for a bit and let me see if I can find a good website tool. I usually use Corbett Maths, right? Corbett Maths is like one of the really good resource online where you can find really good questions and answers and videos and worksheets. So let me quickly share my screen and show you what I mean. So this is Corbett Maths. All right. So if you can see the screen. So here are the topics. So let me see today's topic. So just give me a minute. Coordinate. So we were talking about straight line. So angle, straight line, triangle, types of vertical straight lines. So we have a video practice questions textbook for straight lines. Let's look at the video on a straight line, right? So that's a straight line for the angles ones. Let me quickly see if I can find coordinate geometry straight line. Wait a minute. So you can easily get questions and videos. There you go. Coordinates. Coordinate midpoint of a line. Distance between 2 points. So let us look at maybe we can have midpoint of a line. Okay. So this is like a good example. So just showing you the example. There are videos, they're quick videos, reference videos that we will use. So I'll be sharing, like, we can be discussing, we can be using all these online as tools as our, uh, you know, uh, practice. And also we can also look for, for teaching aid. Uh, so we can definitely look at it. So click here for questions. If we look at the questions, we have a lot of different questions on this topic, right? So just like that, A and B, write down the coordinates of point A. So we don't know the coordinate of A. So we're gonna look at the graph. So it's 3 and 1, 3 and 2, coordinate of A. 3 is X and Y is 2. For B, it's -2 and -1, right? So simple questions like that, and there are separate marks for that. So they're easy marks. So you need to be marks hunger, and you need to look for marks. So then they're saying write down the coordinates of B, coordinates of A, one mark each. Plot the point 0, 2 label C. Plot the point -3 label D. So you need to know how to plot the points, how to see this that thing. Write down the coordinates of A. So coordinate of A is -3 and 2. Things like that. So there's some difficult questions, things like that. So we will be practicing all of that. Not only this, but also, maths, physics, PMT tutor. There's a good resource as well for O and A levels. So we will be doing all of this. So thank you for being part of today's demo session. And we hope, or I hope, that will have a good learning journey ahead. Thank you. Thank you so much.